Hello everybody, Craig Warrack here obviously. So what I'm doing now is I'm making a video diary of something that I'm involved in over at the whoosh.com. I've got my computer here and I'll be showing you stuff in a wee minute. I've also got a fine mug of tea, but I won't slurp that. Yes, I will actually slurp it. So what is happening over at the Whoosh is, I think every year they have a Secret Santa custom sort of, I don't want to say competition because it's not, just an event. And basically action figure customizers are invited to secretly make custom figures for each other. So I've decided to take part in it this year for the first time. And I'm just making a diary to, I don't know, thought it'd be interesting, who knows. So what have we got? So today is now the 25th of August 2011, and I'm just looking at the original post here. Yep. So we've to ship our customs for the 3rd of December. So that people get them in time for Christmas, I suppose. So what happens is everyone who says they want to be involved has submitted their names already, and it's cut off now. No one else can participate. And the organizer, he's a member of the Whoosh called Ethan Suppley. He's doing a good job keeping everyone in line. I have to praise him there. He has asked us all to submit wish lists of what, like a Christmas list of what characters we would like whoever gets our wish list to make for us. There's not going to be any names involved between the participants, so we don't know who's got whose list and who's making for what, whatever. So I've just received the wish list from the other person today. I don't know who the other person is and I've not even looked at it yet, so I'll take a look on camera. But I just want to have a look at my wish list. Apparently people have been submitting things that are hundreds of characters long. We had to submit, I think it had to be Marvel or DC, sort of superhero comics, just because that's what most people who customise action figures are probably into. We had to come up with 5 characters, and one of which had to be female. And I think it had to be all either 6-inch Marvel Legends or DCUC. So let's take a look at my list. I hope my camera can film my computer screen. Oh, it's got those funny lines, right? Who have I got? So top of the list, Baron Mordo. These are figures I kinda want, but I don't think I will make myself. Why is my camera not focusing? So we've got Baron Mordo, we've got Clea, Man-Thing, honestly I don't know what I was thinking here, Magneto, Diablo, Blastar, a Doombot, the In-Betweener, honestly, Hawkeye, Professor Xavier, Shatra, the Spider-Wasp, you'll probably have to look her up, Kraven, Namor in his X-Men costume, Polaris in her modern costume, Havoc in his modern costume, Northstar, Baron Helmut Zemo. Did I want Heinrich? I can't remember. Anyway, which is it? Helmut or Heinrich? I don't know. Anyway, and Captain Britain in his MI-13 costume. So that's the list of characters that I would like to receive one of. So we'll see what happens there, probably closer to Christmas when I finish this and do everything. We'll see what I end up with. I have to admit, there is some, of course, trepidation. I mean, you don't want to put a lot of effort into something and then receive something back from someone who's not put a lot of effort into something, but that's Christmas almost, isn't it? There's a lot of different skill levels, and you know what, it's all for fun at the end of the day. You could receive something amazing, you could receive something not amazing, but even if something's not amazing, it doesn't mean the person hasn't tried their hardest to make it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. Okay, so anyway, I'm now going to take a look at the list that I have received today. Was it today or was it last night? What? Where is it? Okay, here we go. I received it today at 3:36 AM. So, clicking it now. Let's see what I've got. Okay, so here we go. Prefer Marvel Legends style, 6-inch scale. I don't mind incorporation of SOTA Street Fighter articulation. Well, to come to the right place then. Mattel, WWE, Elite or Legends Hellboy Star. But absolutely no DCUSD style hips, please. Well, as long as you're not too demanding. I also prefer bucks that don't have ugly shoulders, hip balls. My whole list is Marvel. I want them all equally except for Devil Dinosaur. I want him a lot. Devil Dinosaur? Are you joking me? Anyway, right, okay, let's see what we've got here. How long is it first of all? Substantial. Mr. Hyde. Meh. Let me zoom in a bit. See if we can get it. Okay, we've got Mr. Hyde. The current Thunderbolts Ghost, maybe. Troll. Current Thunderbolts, I really don't have any connection to her, that's probably not happening. Crossbones. Death of Captain America version. A gun wielding character, probably not me. Devil Dinosaur. Next wave Agents of Hate version with robes must have decent articulation, must be 10-inch or taller. Right. I don't know what to say. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Leonardo da Vinci from S.H.I.E.L.D. I tried to read an issue of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I just phased out halfway through. So probably not happening. Demolition Man, D-Man classic costume. Yeah. Mach 5, current Thunderbolts, that's kind of difficult. Radioactive Man, classic green on green. Lockjaw, must have decent articulation. Venom, new Flash Thompson version. You're not getting one of mine, that's for sure. Any Celestial, a Celestial, honest, Ant-Man, Scott Lang version. The red-black costume he wore before he died in Avengers Disassembled with the mask that doesn't show his face. You know what, I've kind of thought about doing that figure a couple of times, we'll see. Jack of Hearts. Dark Hawk. Sorry, I just went past Jack of Hearts there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much to say there. Dark Hawk. Squirrel Girl. Prince of Orphans, the Avengers version. Hank Pym, the Wasp. Yeah, maybe, I quite like that. Dr. Faustus or Faustus. Current version from Captain America. Falcon, the modern version. Absorbing Man. Stilt Man. Baron Blood. Hitler. God. Armadillo. Yeah. So, I don't know. Obviously, you lucky people will just be able to fast forward in time and see what I'm going to do, but for me, these are nothing's jumping out at me at the moment. I'll have to sort of think about it for a while. And Ant-Man is probably the one I'm feeling at the moment, to be honest. Ant-Man or Jack of Hearts. Ant-Man. What else have we got? as much as I would I like the challenge of doing something like Devil Dinosaur or a Celestial, I'm not going to do it for the risk of... Well, I know for a fact, given the style of characters that I submitted. I mean, some of them would be difficult to make, but there's nothing that's 10 or 12 inches, and really, I'm not wanting to do something that's 10 or 12 inches and then have to pay to ship it way out. So that's why I try to keep all mine kind of simple. So yeah, I don't know. I'll see what I can do. Ghost is one. Radioactive Man, maybe. Ant-Man. I really like that mask. Oh, what's wrong there? Dark Hawk is, but the wings under the arms, that's some arranging. Faustus would be kind of easy. Hank Pym as the Wasp. Yeah. So I have no idea who this is from. So we'll just see what happens. I'll get my thinking cap on and we'll see. Hey everybody, okay, so it's now the 29th of August, and what have I got to say? So this is the second part of the video diary. So I've thought more about the list that I was given, and my first impression, I just thought I was kind of like, whoa, this is a bit outrageous. Some of these things are like quite demanding, so I didn't have a really good first impression there. But the next day, I slept on it, and the next day I got up and I was like, you know, it's Christmas. I should probably, you know, try as hard as I can to make what this person really wants. And so I asked some other members in the community kind of their opinion on what I should do. Should I go with the Christmas spirit and go all out and make, like, the guy wanted Devil Dinosaur, as you saw? Should I make Devil Dinosaur? Because I was thinking, you know what, if I made that would be really awesome, and I think I would really enjoy making it as well. But at the end of the day, the feedback from friends in the community that was Devil Dinosaur might be pushing it a little. You should maybe just go with you know, like a 6-inch figure. But you know, I'm not gonna cut corners on it. Still gonna go full out. If I make like a 10-inch figure, that's gonna be fodder. It's gonna be postage. It's just gonna be too much. As much as I would like to make Devil Dinosaur, yeah, I'm just not really gonna. So, hold on, let me just pause this for a minute. I'll come back to you with who I've whittled it down. Okay, thanks for holding. So I've got it down to 4 characters that I'm kind of. So the first one is Ghost of the Thunderbolts. I kind of like that character. I like his look, you know, the sort of hovering, kind of withered techno guy. Really like that sort of look. It's quite creepy, and I really like doing that sort of monster creepy effect. So that's something to think of, and I'm kind of thinking, you know, I've looked at it's part of what, you know, when I go to make a custom, you obviously have to look and see if other people have done it before you. You can get really useful advice, useful ideas. You can see what really does work, what really doesn't work. And what really did work for Ghost in the customs I saw was a Judge Death body. So I'm kind of... Ghost might be quite good. Then again, I'm thinking that helmet thing, you know, with the gas mask, sort of, might be quite difficult. But I'll give it a shot, maybe. The next one was the classic Radioactive Man. I think I've left this in the list probably because it's kind of easy, to be honest. It's just a big green guy, isn't it? Might be a bit lazy. The next one was the Flash, Thompson, Venom. You know, obviously I've made this guy before, and that's, you know, it's in my... I have the parts. I know I can do it. Do I want to do it again? Don't know. And I think that if I did make that, I wouldn't give him all the, you know, the legs and the head changing and the hands changing and all that stuff. I don't think I would do that. So if I'm not going to go all out on it, should I really bother doing it at all? I mean, I kind of... Part of me thinking about Flash Thompson is because, you know, when I made Venom, I got a lot of feedback from YouTube and from other places. Can you make me Venom? Can you make me Venom? And I was like, no. So I kind of think, well, it'd be nice to make a video diary of me making Venom, then you stop bothering me about it. There we are. What have we got? And then finally, Ant-Man, Scott Lang. I've always liked that helmet he's got with the sort of the multiple ant eyes down it. I thought that was really cool. So I'm kind of taken by that. It's kind of simple. I can't really think of much to do with it. And, you know, just from memory I'm thinking, did his body have like, did it have like slats and piping down it? Because whoever is giving me this list, I get the impression that they're very meticulous about the detail of the character, so I don't want to really get myself into doing lots of line work on a character. Take a long time. But then his costume's quite straightforward. I don't know. So at this point, now those are the 4 characters I've got, and I haven't decided. What I'm going to do is my next step. Get the images of these characters, so I've got a really good idea of the feel of them. I think it's probably between Ghost and Ant-Man at this point, to be honest. So I'll have a look at them, see what I can get, see if any figures jump to mind, take a look online, see if anyone's made these characters before, and then I'll hit my fodder box and I'll see what I can see. So yeah, I don't know, future me will have something interesting to say, or if he'll be a gibbering wreck. We'll find out in the next episode. Thank you. Okay, so it's now the 25th of September, and it's been almost a month since I made one of these, but I haven't progressed in any way with the project. September's a very busy month for me at work, so I've not had a lot of chance to do any sort of customising stuff, which is kind of nice and kind of bad in another way. But at least I've had time to think it over. Last time I left you, my past self was wondering between Ant-Man and Ghost, and I've now decided on Ghost. So what I'm going to be doing is, well, as you can see, well, I'll rewind a bit. So I mentioned last time that I had been looking at some other customs of Ghost, and people seem to be using the Judge Death body, so I've picked up a Judge Death. He's actually not that expensive. I don't know if he's expensive in the US, but he's kind of common here in the UK for some reason. Maybe just no one bought him and he's just been hanging about eBay forever. So I got this Judge Death guy. I got the translucent one. He was cheaper, and I don't know if I can work that into Ghost, the translucent thing. We'll see. So I've got that, and my next step is to look at some of the source material for the character. So I've got... I don't buy Thunderbolts, so I looked online, and he's got this sort of origin issue about himself. I got this. It doesn't have that many pictures of Ghost himself in it, in his modern costume, but it does have this pretty good full-on image of him right there. That'll be really useful. But what I got this for was, I know it seems a bit too artistic, you know, but I like to get to know the character that I'm making a custom of. And you never know when that sort of knowledge of the character can come in and, you know, work, pull out something. For example, Flash Thompson, if I just worked off an image from the internet, I wouldn't have been able to know about him losing his legs and be able to work that into the character. Or know that he's like a military guy and he's really, his attitude towards the military would, you know, he follows orders, so he's got the salute in hand and all that. So, that kind of thing I think is useful. So this is a Ghost origin story, and it does tell me about the guy. He is a conspiracy theorist. So he sees, for example, in the start of this story, he sees there's patterns. He believes that the crossword in the Frontline Marvel newspaper, he believes that the crossword is being used to secretly communicate. It's just a nice little thing, you know. He sees the conspiracy everywhere, and it's part of his origin story that he was the victim of a conspiracy theory while he was working on this ghost tech. We don't know his real name in this story. It's always blacked out. I'm assuming he does that himself because he doesn't like sharing data, because he thinks that data is the most important thing, the most dangerous thing as well. So yeah, there we have him. He kind of, eventually the story goes that he almost gives up his life and his physical body. Before he was quite a stocky, chubby guy, and now he's like a withered, old, kind of disgusting guy. So he's totally sort of abandoned his body, and he exists as this sort of just in spirit form, really. I know that's kind of a psychological thing that's happening. He doesn't actually exist in a spirit form, but yeah. So that's just the character's personality. It comes across quite well in this story. So, you know, as long as I've got that in my head, it's something that while I'm sort of designing the character and making the character, there may be something that just lines up for that instant, and I can just pull it together. So my next step is to unbox the figure and have a good look at it, see what base I'm working with, and then I'll show you what I do next. So just a moment. Alright, so here we have Judge Death out of packet. I've got a kind of a frosted window behind him, so you know it's showing off his translucency really well. Anyway, this guy's not going to stay the way he is. He's got all the usual Toy Biz sort of articulation. So what I'm doing just now is just making myself familiar with the figure. I have used this figure before, so I am already quite familiar with it, but it's always useful to know exactly where his joints are, how they work, and what his body shape is. Now, something that can prove to be a bit of a distraction, especially this guy, is all the stuff he's got on him. So let's get rid of these things. There we are. Oh, most of his shoulder came away with that. That's fine. That's something that can be easily fixed in the customising process. So I'm just trying to remove all these accessories from him. There we go. What else has he got? Okay, he's got this badge thing. So most of these, rather than being, while they are sculpted details, they are attached to the body separately. Some of them are probably going to take a bit of work. Now, if I weren't doing this in front of a camera, in the spare room, I would probably have dipped this guy in hot water. To make it easier to remove some of this stuff off him. His belt. Wherever possible, I try and remove the accessories along join lines so that you never know when this belt or this shoulder pad could be used for another character. There's no point in totally destroying it to get rid of it. Could prove useful further down the line. Now, something that I'm noticing as I'm going along is that is a very, very floppy joint there. So I will fix that later on. If I remember, I'll make a video about how to tighten that up. There we are. Oh, let's see. It's got these big tabs on them to get so that these accessories can join on. Right, that's us getting to this. Oh, knee pads seem a little tough. Oh, God, there we go. Come on, you can hear it cracking. But again, you don't want to force it too hard and for the accessory to stay in place, but his entire knee to come off. Usually that is not going to be the case though. But I'm not going to risk it just for the sake of a video at this point. I'll dip in the hot water and get these shoulder pads off. Not shoulder pads, knee pads off. So there we have them. These are less accessorised Judge Death, and it's kind of easier to see what we're dealing with. If I could get the helmet off, that would be good as well. I think it is separate from the head. But yeah, that's another one that's going to take a bit more effort. So let me just check what kind of joint does he actually have. Just try to make myself familiar here, try to identify. Is that just a ball socket or is it a hinge? Investigation needed. Okay, so here we have Judge Death without his robes of justice, or whatever they want to call them. And once that's removed, I'm kind of thinking that he is quite a decent base body for that. He's got that same sort of the wrinkle texture on his outfit is similar to this jumpsuit that he's got, that Ghost has, and he has these long spindly arms and legs, so I can see why other people have gone for this. Okay, so the next thing that I like to do is, now that I have my source material and the base, I like to make a quick sort of sketch so that I'm putting I'm drawing the two together like that and knocking them down so that I can figure out what it's going to look like. So hold on. Okay, so the next step that I like to do is it involves this book here. This is my sketchbook, I suppose. It's just where I put down ideas when I need to get some first page blank. What's that mean? Now you can see going through here, I've made some sketches. Goes back a long time. Just this is, can't really see there. Oh, my camera's at kind of a bad angle to show you stuff, but okay. So what we got, Eternity there. I was thinking about doing an Eternity custom quite a while back. As a commission, of course, went through. This is one of the reasons I stopped taking commissions. People would ask me to do it, and I would get it in my head that it was going to happen. And I went through, you know, these sort of planning stages, familiarising myself with what I looked like, how I could maybe work the costume into a figure, and that sort of stuff. And then you never hear from the guy ever again. You contact them and they just don't respond. So there we are. That sort of fell apart. There's me making myself familiar with Carnage's head. Another Eternity, which botched this sort of half-arsed Emma Frost kind of design for a costume. The Sorceress of Greyskull, just try to understand how her costume works and what her head looks like. You can see I made a machine man quite a long way back, and he had all these extended things, and I had to make left hand, right hand, left gun, right gun, what parts I needed posts, and I needed sockets, and I needed all this other stuff. What parts do I all need? Where are they going to come from? These ones are coming from Remy, these ones are coming from Dalcium, or stuff like that. Zombie Lockjaw. Sometimes I do a picture and then I realise, you know what, I don't really need to get into this too in depth to understand what's going on. I was going to make the Void before Siege turned out to be a piece of shit. So yeah, I was quite into designing that and coming up with all these tentacles and spider legs and scorpion things, and how I could make it sort of like a dark insect character, but still work in like the sentry's hair and his cape and his logo, these sort of things. How I would work that in there. I thought about that for a long time, and then aborted. Abort. What else is here? Designing the logo for the doppelganger. I was kind of thinking, this is the Spider-Man logo. How's the one on his back? Has to look a bit more insecty and evil than Spider-Man's normal one. It's good, just jotting down ideas so see how they work out. Swarm. Basic design there. Obviously he was more a technique than anything about design. He came out quite random. What have we got here? How I wanted him to look. Finally, that's kind of the effect. I wanted his cape to be splaying out behind him. Ideas for Venom, for Flash Venom. You can see over here how I was putting down his costume details. Just making lots of notes. Notice how I use different colours to kind of keep myself on track. I'll show you that in a minute more accurately. And Dormammu, what's his costume looks like. And then I've got Post, did a sketch in green of the base figure, and then the blue is how I'm going to work over on top of it. And there's Venom, what I wanted his head to look like. And there's just a quick sketch of this Eddie Brock. And remember, I made that sort of half-arsed symbiote attachment that went over his face. Where I wanted that to go, the jaw was coming down here, this half was covered, that sort of thing. Oh, and then a blank page. So this is going to be Ghost. Now, let me see what I can come up with here. So, Ghost. And then of the Thunderbolts, that's what that is there. Oh, that's beautiful. Right, okay, so what I usually do when I've got a base figure is I very quickly, I'll use green. Hold on, I'll move this camera up just a little. So yeah, okay, so here's what we got, Ghost. So what I'm going to do is just really basically sketch out quickly the base figure. Now you'll notice I'm not being very accurate at all, but important things I am noting in this drawing are where the articulation falls on him. So it's actually further down. I've probably not drawn him too big for this page, but it's not proportions I'm looking for. his ball joints there are actually kind of small ball joints. They're not ball joints at all, are they? They're hinge and post joints that are shaped like a ball. Does he have articulation in his hands? He does, okay, so he's got a rotate. I'll probably have to swap out his hands anyway. Then that finger is articulated and the others are articulated separately. Okay. Alright, that looks pretty alright for just a general basis for placing my design on top of. Now, what I should probably point out while I'm just not really concentrating and just kind of making these horrible hands on the end of them, is that the reason for me doing this is that I find it useful when I'm making something like this that takes a long time, that I find myself, I can change my approach and over time, you know, it evolves obviously, and while that can be good, sometimes you can get too wrapped up in what's happening in the moment and what you think would be cool to just stick on, and it's useful to have this sketch to go back to and just say, you know what, this wasn't part of the original plan, this is too far removed, or I should just not bother doing this, it's going to cause complications elsewhere. And also when I hesitate, I'm like, I can't decide, should I give him, you know, one strap or two across here, or, you know, wouldn't it be cool if this shoulder pad was bigger than this one, that kind of thing. I can go back to the sketch and go, no, you know what, this is what it looks like, this is what the plan was, and it saves hesitation, it saves you arguing with yourself, it saves you constantly revisiting the design if you just put it down and get it sorted at this stage. So that's how useful I find it. So there we have, that's basically the figure, he's gone in there, don't need to look at him really anymore. Perhaps fit his feet on the sketch. You see, I just ran out of space. I'll draw them up here or something. Let's see. So he does have a. Okay, it's a fairly straightforward foot anyway. It's not like I need to pay much attention, but who knows, the actual ghost design may have very complex feet. I've not looked that deeply into it. So, like I was just saying there just now, now we look at the actual ghost design, and while you may think you have a good idea of what a character looks like in your mind's eye, you'll often find that your mind's eye is like looking at something through frosted glass, really. You don't recall a lot of the individual detail. So let's take a look. I'm going to leave his head because ghost head is fairly complicated and I'll handle that separately. So what I notice, first things first, he's got these shoulder pads. So the shoulder pads come out past his elbow joint. They don't stick up too high, and they're also curved. You can see that, or I can see that. I don't know if you can see that. They're also curves behind them. Something that's useful to do is to look at your character from lots of different angles, and get an idea for what they actually, how their armour actually works, how it joins up. Thing to remember about comic books is that a lot of comic book artists obviously are just making it up in each panel, so things are not consistent from panel to panel, things change size, and they change shape between artists. So when you try to make something comic accurate, There's only so far you can go. But there are a lot of comic artists who also pride themselves on understanding exactly how the character works, exactly how many webs Spider-Man has on his face, how many he has on his hands. Some comic artists are very particular about that, although I don't think, but that's just their art style. So anyway, what am I noticing about this character here? So he's got these buckles that are coming down from here. They look to be free floating though, they don't look to be attached to anything. I'll have to take a look at some other bits. He's got a strap that goes across his chest, and the zipper that runs down his suit. And this part is actually really quite creased and baggy. So yeah, that's what I'm getting there. Going down to his belt. Now the belt should fall exactly above or below. I think in this case probably above might be better. It leaves more space for the, the figure seems to have a, well, I don't think it's really that big a difference, but we need to decide whether the belt goes above or below the waist articulation. And does he have a sculpted belt? No, he doesn't. It might be easier to put it below, but that kind of, in this he's got there is quite a bit of space there for his hips, so I think the belt will probably go above the waist articulation here. It's a really simple belt, that's what I like to see. I can maybe do that with a simple paint. And the zipper continues part of the way, but not all the way down underneath him. Then so he's got these bits that go down here, and then he's got like some sort of, that's going to be kind of hard to convey, but I think I can manage that on his, because that's going across his ball joint, to hide that. It's not much. Obviously I can't create a one-piece suit that's going to hide his ball joint, but yeah, I think those lines can be quite important. So what I'm, if it's just the same from one side to the other, I usually don't bother drawing it, because it's just a waste of time. And then this belt above his knee, it draws it gets much thinner at this point, so it's kind of like it draws the jumpsuit in at that point. We'll see. I'll make a note. Yeah. So tight around baggy leg. I mean, that doesn't really mean anything to anyone apart from myself. I'll know what I'm talking about there. Okay, and yeah, his legs, they're very in the dark. I'll have to be careful about, at this stage I'm not too sure what is actually going on with his legs there. So let's go back up and look at his arms. He seems to have, hold on, let me go back, see if I can find any better pictures. Not really, to be honest. You might have one at the end. Here we go. There's quite a good image of his arm. You can't really see, it's too high up. What about this one? Quite a good distant view of his arm in this one. So this part is, it's all cloth. And he's got a couple of these bands going around. So these seem to be a recurring feature on him, these tight bands around this sort of baggy jumpsuit. So that's something I can work with. So looking at his elbow pad, kind of weird. See what I can do. There kind of seems to be like a large thing, and then this even bigger this huge sort of elbow pad. Really not sure how that's. Seems to be curved with his arm coming out like that. Okay, I'll need to try and get my head around that, but I think I've understood that. In his forearms. Now in this picture, they don't look too complicated, but I do notice back the way his forearms seem, well actually his forearms seem quite normal apart from that little work there. And then they go into some kind of, so it kind of goes down. This is one of these things about these sort of more modern costume designs, that they often go over. They look great in 2D. They probably wouldn't work for a real person. They limit motion so much because they come over the joint here. He's got these little lights or discs on it. I'll have to look and see if there's a pattern to them. His fingers seem to have piping, and every joint has a kind of a metal thing over it, so that'll do. There also seems to be something going up the inside of his palm. Good lord, quite complicated. So I think I'll go back, and what I'll need to look at is now something that I'm noticing while going over Ghost is that he has, we'll come at the head later of course, but he's this high tech thing, but his tech is really sort of grungy and worn. So I'll just throw in some extra lines that keep me, when I look at it, it'll say to my memory, this guy is a dirty bastard. Okay, so that's where I'm at just now. Let me see. What else did I notice about him? Looking at this shot here, he does have this kind of neck brace thing. So that just brings my attention to his neck. He's got a kind of a collar. It starts here, and then I'll just draw in a neck brace there, ignoring it does go up higher at the back. So see, I'm treating the head as if it's not there in this drawing, because I'll do it separately. So that's kind of his neck brace. Okay, and he does seem to be symmetrical. Apart from that, what are these things? Let me see if I can find another angle for him. Not really. Oh, something to notice. He's going to have his Thunderbolt insignia there. And easiest way to probably get that is to go to the front cover of the comic. Actually, it's not too good in the logo, so is it better on the inside? Let me find someone who has a good Thunderbolts logo. Well, none of them. Okay, it looks fairly straightforward anyway. There won't be any in his flashbacks anyway. Okay, so it looks fairly straightforward. It's it's a circle. That's a circle by the way. And what we got? So it's a circle, and imagine that. And there's a lightning bolt that goes from the top. It has one kink, and it goes to the bottom. So there, there, there. And it starts wider, narrow, up, down to being very narrow. Okay, something like that. And I think it's kind of, yeah, so it's yellow and black. Straightforward enough, but you never know in the heat of the moment. You could end up with the lightning bolt being yellow and the circle being black, so it's important just to get that down before you make a complete clanger of a mistake, and someone online will pick it up. Now, I was thinking about these things that are on his side. I'm not too sure what's going on there. I might have to look online. There's kind of an image of him with his back up there, but it's not very detailed. Not sure what's going on there. Yeah, I might have to look elsewhere, see if I can find some pictures online of Ghost's back and side, try and see what's happening. So there's kind of one of his back, so it looks like it's more or less the exact same strap, and there's some kind of box thing on his side. Not sure what it is. I'll draw it in just so that, you know, I don't, when I'm doing it, I don't just assume it's not there. He's got one on the other side as well, so I've actually drawn those on the wrong side. Goes on that side. Right. Okay. So there we have him. That's him so far. So there we go. So that's my kind of sketch for Ghost. Might look like a bit of a mess to yourself, but like I say, it's created some mental notes for myself. I can, even when I look at this, I can go, what the, I've drawn that. I don't understand it in this drawing. Let me look at the source material again, and it'll get, you know, once I start sculpting, it's a good prompt to refresh my memory. That's it. So there we have it. That's what he's going to be like, hopefully. Now, like I said, I'm going to do his head separately. His head is, it's kind of the part I'm dreading more than anything. So I kind of like this appearance on the front. It does have, I think, Ghost's mask can often come across quite emotionless, which, you know, is kind of fine. That, so, you know, you've got that approach or that approach. I mean, this one has more work going on with the brow, which is kind of interesting, but I'm not sure. Kind of like the plain mask. So yeah, okay, let's first of all, let's go back to my green. Okay, general head shape. Now what I'm starting with is just a very general outline of a head, and then once I start drawing, we'll see if Ghost's head is actually larger than a normal head, or should it be disproportionately bigger to give him a creepy feel. These sort of things are important to look out for. So Ghost's eyes probably won't fall in the same sort of thing as normal eyes, but these are the lines, these are the eyes should probably fall. Bottom of the nose, the mouth, rather large cranium. But okay, so that's me got the outline of a fairly normal head. And neck. not great, but you know, doesn't really matter. So that's just got the outline. So let me bring in my. Now this is probably not going to be a sketchy. So looking at. I wish I had a really good picture of his face. Let's go with that one, huh? Okay, so he has a line that runs directly down the middle. And there's a line just at the bottom of his brow there that divides it. So it's not one piece, there's two pieces to the mask here. Goes out. So when I'm sketching, I'm also trying to understand how things are constructed. If this were not a 2D drawing and a 3D thing, I have to understand where the layers lie, the layers of an object. So and that's kind of straight, but more or less. And also when I'm drawing, what I find myself doing is embellishing the thing, so it comes out, it won't be comic accurate, because I cannot help but add my own sort of take on things, where the corners fall and how the angles go. Now, his eyes. Now his eyes look, do they fall where normal eyes are, or no, they're a little further out perhaps. And do they take up the whole? So it looks like there's these the actual glowing eye part is probably smaller and beadier, staring out. Okay. Let's try and get the top right, so it's quite smooth going around. Right. Now I'm kind of looking at this. His mask doesn't come out a lot, but there's these. You know, when I say it doesn't come out a lot, it's kind of flat down the front. But there are these details at the side that should probably affect. I'll just make kind of a visual note that there's stuff going on around the side that you can probably see from the front. And there's some piece of up here. There's something from the side comes round the front. Now, chances are on a 6-inch figure I'm not going to be able to pick up a lot of this detail when I'm sculpting. I don't think I'm that good, so. Yeah. And while I would love to make that all black in there, I think I'm just going to put in some lines to suggest there's technological detail going on. Meh. Okay. Now, huge feature. These. Now, how big are they? Do I want them kind of small? Okay, let me take a more proportionate look at his face, which, from this main image here. And what this main image will also give me is the bottom of his mask. So it kind of goes to a kind of a point. And then his neck brace will even that out. Okay, so I'm just going to draw in these lines here. We can't really see them. So that's him without these sort of gas masky bits, respirator things. So okay, they kind of stick out to the side. I'm just going to actually just draw in really sketchy circles. Don't know if they quite stick out that far from his face. Okay, fair enough. So there's, let's see, so they kind of go like that, and then there is another, if I try and get a bit of a 3D effect of what they look like. Oh, this isn't working at all. Okay, so that's all. This is the dark, and that last one's the white. And how many? I'm sure that the number of holes there are change from shot to shot, but we'll go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6. They go at the points of the Star of David, if anyone's paying attention there. Okay. Grand. Okay. Now, actually, I'm going to add in this, show that that's very curved. It's curving all the way back. It doesn't go up high and then sharply back. Something else, kind of dirty marks on his mask. It's important. I made the note over here on my other sketch. He's got kind of filth on him. Interesting. Okay. Okay, well that's kind of made me understand more what's happening with his mask. Okay. Although, looking up at this one here, look how the eyes are slightly bigger than the here in this photo. This image, they kind of sit within the slots. But in this one, they kind of are a bit larger. You know, this one might be more effective, given that evil stare. So I might just alter this and have these eyes, they come out over the bottom layer. That's, yes, exactly, that is exactly what they do actually. So they go under the brow to give it that stare, and they come out over the lower mask. Okay. See, it can be worth looking in at this level of detail. You suddenly understand what's happening. Okay, now quick look if I can. Oh, is that not perfect? Look at that. I almost don't need to draw anything there. It's all laid out perfectly for me what the side of his mask looks like. So once again, draw the side of a head. That's probably a bit bigger than. Yeah, that's much bigger than the neck. Okay, anyway, good enough start. I'll know what I'm talking about. Let's go. Let's see what we've got happening. So, this is going to be more or less just a note. It's not going to be as worked as the front part, as the front mask. The view of the mask from the front. That is sloped going down. And his eyes are there. So that bit sticks out and then it comes in there, and there's some tech shit going on in there. Then this stuff that I could see from the front is revealed to come out from this area under his eye. To the side, go back up, and goes up to that point. That tech shit fills in that bit. That's a 3D bit with a dot there. That's curved round the back. His respirator bit does come out a bit. It's 3D. So I've gone all quiet here, kind of focusing on trying to understand what's, try in my head get these two images together to make a 3D thing. So his chin goes down there, and that that neck brace that I spotted earlier is actually a huge part of his mask over here. Of the overall look. His head leans, so his chin goes quite far back, and then his neck actually comes down. Interesting. Actually, there's a really good look at the Thunderbolts logo as well, and some shoulder pad. Okay, so there we have it. Okay, so I think that's probably enough for me to go on. So there we have, this is Ghost. So I think I've probably gone on enough now. Okay. I'm just, my brain's just really working now, trying to follow these designs through in the 3 dimensions and figure out what my next steps are. But I think this is enough to go on. One last thing, very last thing that I should look at in the comic is some things that are not on his body, things that surround him. And yep, there we are. Okay, good job, looked for that then. Often you will pay attention to things going on the character and miss what goes on around them. In this case, it looks like he's surrounded by flies. That's kind of interesting. I wonder why. I mean, obviously I can see that it sort of accentuates that dirty sort of look that he has, but I'm wondering if they, if I just assume they're flies and go and I'm obviously not going to sculpt flies around them, but it's important to kind of note down these details. You never know. Something else that I'm going to put is a crossword, a conspiracy crossword, and in the other hand he had a pencil. Now, I probably won't touch these as accessories or any sort of effect, but it's just kind of all adds into the character, conveying what he's about. And like I was saying, yeah, I could go and make these flies, and they'll turn out, they could be, I'll do them the wrong colour, they could be, actually not flies, and they're sprites from the nth dimension or some shit like that. It's just important to look into every little thing before you go go off and do it, so you know what's happening. So there we have. Okay, that's more than enough on sketching out Ghost and sketching out Judge Death here. Next part is to get down into it. The hard part, actually getting the sculpting going. Alright, okay, and now that I've got this image in my head, I can go look in my folder box more accurately, see what I've got. And things I'm thinking of, how am I going to do these, these mechanical bits. They're difficult to sculpt, probably won't get them right, so it's better to use fodder pieces that have been mechanically produced. These gloves, straps and things, not too bad. Yeah, looking good, looking good. Okay, I'll get on with that, and I'll see you in probably, it'll be days for me, or weeks, or hopefully not a month again, in a couple of seconds. Bye. Hi everyone, it's now October 29th, which is a few weeks after you last saw my time-lapse photography sculpting of Ghost's head, and I've only got a couple of excuses for the lapse in time there, which was this Dark Souls came out, everything had to stop for Dark Souls, and then after that everything had to stop for Arkham City. So yeah, I've been playing this for a few weeks, so didn't do any sort of customising whatsoever, but I got back onto Ghost this weekend and made really good progress with him. So, you saw me last sculpting the head, And I got to quite a finished state with the head, but I've just been adding in some what I hope are final little details. I've added in the eyes. These are slices of Moon Knight's, Marvel Legends Moon Knight's staff. One of the things I was worried about with this custom was that it has a lot of technological parts. They have to be symmetrical and consistent. So sculpting isn't always the best way to do that. It takes a lot of effort to get things kind of symmetrical. So slices of Moon Knight staff were quite good with that, and it helps them, they sort of hover out from his face, which looks quite good. Something that I'm getting a kind of a, from the figure as opposed to the drawing, I'm getting a kind of a Johnny Five out of Short Circuit sort of vibe from him. And I'm looking at it, I think I need to bring the brow down slightly over the top of the eye, so it's not such a wide-eyed thing. He does often have in the comics this sort of blank expression, which I think is really cool, but I think I just need to just pull that brow down a little, I think. I've added in his respirator things. These are the end of ballpoint pens. Just slice those off again to keep it consistent. I've got a blue pen and a black pen, and drilling holes into them. And going down onto his body. So this was a lot of hassle, to be honest. I didn't show you me sculpting this because it was just, there wasn't much, there wasn't anything exciting to see. Starting with the shoulder pads, these are this is long, what's his name? I was going to call him Long Bolt. Long shots. The sash that goes around him. This is his. I twisted them down to be his shoulder pads and then sculpted over them. Again, try to keep them, symmetrical was quite difficult. You be the judge of whether that was achieved or not. And then, if you don't like it, keep it to yourself, because quite frankly, I don't care. I can't handle the criticism. And then on the drawing, these sort of big belt loops that I didn't quite understand. It turns out there's something connecting. There's a piece of fabric that is buckled on that goes around his back. Wasn't too sure what these are, but yeah, took some small buckles off of a Nick Fury harness, I think, put them on, and these, the belt and the strap that goes around his upper chest, are from, again, long shot from his the belt on his handbag or whatever that is that he carries at his side. Added in some random sort of techie parts on the side. It's difficult to get a good picture of what these actually are, and he doesn't seem to use them, so I could be wrong there. But and added in some parts on the back of his belt. New Star Trek movie communicator there with the Starfleet logo blanked off. Simple belt buckle, like I said when I was drawing that, love it. Don't like that complicated stuff. For the design on his, he has these stripes going along. Of course, you can't really do that across the ball, but I have engraved one of those stripes into it just to give that costume detail a presence. He's got the band, I sculpted that going round his leg and going down to his boot. His boot gave me a lot of hassle. Swapped out his feet for long shots again, so he had kind of simpler boots, and yeah, sculpted that round. And this was one of those figures where you sculpt on it and it, you come back the next day or later on once it's cured and dried and you look at it and it's just so misshapen and blobby. You kind of lose hope from time to time on it. But I spent this weekend with a Dremel and sandpaper, taking it down so it has a nice shape. And yeah, it's just a step that needs doing, is the old Dremel. Going up to his arms, the two bands that go round his upper arm, easy enough. These elbow pads, that's the word, were a bit of a pain. They took several days to build up and work around it so that they don't inhibit his arm too much. He won't be touching his own shoulder at any point in time, but looking at the design, I don't think he would be doing that anyway. They were another thing that just came out blobby and misshapen, but that's just the nature of sculpting, and then you just have to work it down. And I'm really quite happy with how these have come out now. They're really nice and smooth. I think if I'm going to add any detail to these, it'll just be painted. And the forearm, sculpted over that, took off all the sort of wrinkled effect because he's got these smooth black Joan Collins-like gloves on. Sanded those down and put a sort of raised element over his hands. His hands are from, who are they from? A Bird of Prey Angel, X-Men Classics Angel figure. And with more slices of Midnight Staff on the back for these sort of circular details. Go on. Had to be careful sculpting that as I want to retain that articulation. Yep, is there anything else I need to show? No, I think that's about it. Something that I'm kind of struggling with is how to get the Thunderbolts emblem on the shoulder, because that's I just don't know. I thought about sculpting over the break in the joint there, but then the joint won't move up and it won't go into his arm, so I'm undecided on how to do that. I'll find a way around it. So things to do from now on: maybe bring his brow down a little, work out this emblem thing, also look into whether he's got one on both shoulders, and then get down to painting. Yeah. I think any sort of details that I've missed, there's sort of the detail on the foot and the detail on the fingers. I think we can leave that to the paint. And yeah, let's paint this guy and we'll see what he comes out like. I feel jealous that you can just skip forward to see what it's going to be like. I have to go through the motions. Anyway, enjoying it now that it's making a move. Here we go. Okay, so here we have Ghost sculpting all done. Like I said I was going to do it, I brought down his brow a little. I covered up. Still not too sure whether this is going to work. Seems to work fine for the most part. Covered up that part so I can put his Thunderbolts emblem on. That's about it. Okay, so we're going to look at painting him here. And obviously since last time he's been painted entirely grey. These are the paints that I use, I swear by. These are Citadel colour paints. You can get them from Games Workshop or most hobby retailers or places like that, art shops. They're very common in the UK. I don't know how common they are where you're from, whoever you may be. And they come in lots of pre-mixed colours that have kind of useless descriptions, such as Warlock Purple. Look at that random eyelash stuck on there. Warlock Purple. Didn't know Warlocks were purple, but apparently in Citadel things they are. So this is, he was done Codex Grey. Yeah, so what we're going to do here is, why I picked the grey is it's a good medium. The two colours, the lightest colour we're going to be using is straight out white, and the darkest is going to be black, because Ghost is basically a black and white character. So grey is the obvious medium there, and I paint them all grey first of all. But you can choose any colour, because basically at the end of the day none of the base will probably be shown through. Okay, so let's take his main torso. what can I do here? I'm just trying to think how I can best explain what I'm going to be doing. Right, well, I'm going to take a fairly fine brush. Again, this is a Citadel brush, you get them in the same place you get the paints, but I suppose any brush would do. This one has been quite used, as you can see. What I'm going to be doing is doing what we call a wash. Oh, see you later, ghost. A wash is a very watery coating of paint, and I'm going to be doing it with black in this case. Here's my black over here. So just taking some black onto the brush, and then what I do is I use the silver tray that come on the top of Chinese takeaway. Just put it on there and take some of my water and just water that down. So I don't know how to describe it. Basically when it runs, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get it good and watery and go in. Sorry, I'm trying to actually look at the camera while I'm painting here, which doesn't make it too easy. Okay. So, and the theory behind doing a wash is that the water will, or the watery paint will flow into the cracks and stay there. It won't stay on the raised areas. It will naturally flow into the cracks, and it will form any shadows that you need. Now, when I was much younger and tried painting some like Citadel Workshop miniatures and all that sort of stuff, I didn't really understand why we did this, because things in the real world have these cracks, but they don't need this sort of accentuated paint effect to look realistic. However, I later realised that the reason we do this is because this is a scale model, so light and dark do not, or light doesn't play across the figure in a way that it would if it was actual scale. We need to make the crevices appear deeper, we need to make the raised areas appear higher, and that's essentially why we're doing this, is to make it look realistic. Okay. Now I tend to go on the darker side of things. It's just my preferred technique. I'm not really going to be doing his face, but I'm just going to, well, in this section of the video anyway, I'm just trying to run it over, and then because the dark goes in to the cracks, you can start to see the detail that you've got in there, or any detail that you've missed. So it's a good way of highlighting what is going on with your figure. It's very difficult to see when it's just all that one colour. Alright, so we're going to leave him for a little bit, just to let all that water evaporate. It's difficult to judge a wash while it's still wet, actually, so it's a good idea to always just let it go. You'll find that the water, of course, makes colours darker while they're wet, so once it dries out, it will hopefully appear a little lighter than it is, and then we'll take a look at them, and I'll show you another technique called dry brushing, hopefully. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so the wash is dried now, and you can't see very much change in it just now, but trust me, it is there. So what we're going to do is the dry brushing, and Okay, for dry brushing, what you need is a dry brush. So this brush is very, very dry. I've left it out quite a while, and these ones with the flat tops on them, these work very well for dry brushing. I've also got this smaller one, which again has a kind of flatter top, and keep them away from water as much as you can. So for dry brushing, like I said, the idea of this is to just catch the highlights, the raised points. So I'm just taking, what I tend to do is take the kind of dried in sticky paint off the top of the cap and use that. So I've got this, and now let's actually wipe off most of the paint, almost all of it in fact. Yep, that's kind of good. Right, let's see how this goes. And so the technique here is to just dust the surface of the figure. Imagine like you see in the movies when they dust for fingerprints. That's the kind of technique you're using here. And it mostly doesn't matter what direction you go in, but there are occasions where you may want to stick to one direction more than another. That's what you can see there. It's the white. Sorry, it's quite a harsh shadow. The white being picked up by the raised elements on the sculpt. Okay, so that's what's happening here. So I'm going to be just using these techniques and changing around the colours. It's coming across a bit dark. Maybe the base colour was too dark. So yeah, I'll go lighter. I'm going to just be using these techniques to do his body. That's it. Nothing particularly special happening. Okay, so that's dry brushing and washing. Just to give you an idea how they work. But just experiment, and like I say, I'm going to be, you know, working into this colour a lot more. And yeah, you'll hopefully see a big change in them next time we see them. Okay, it's now the 9th of November, and here is the finished custom figure of Ghost. I'll do a proper custom figure showcase of him, so I can show you all the bits and pieces to him in more detail and in finer lighting than I have here. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with how he's come out. Yeah, I actually finished him about a week ago actually, so I'm just a little bit slow in doing this. But, so, my next step, well, as far as the custom is concerned, are nothing. I have to post him out to the lucky, you be the judge of that, recipient, and I'll get the details at some point later in the month from the guy over at the Fwoosh. And then I suppose I just have to wait and see what I got from my Secret Santa list. I'm quite excited by that, but that's Ghost. So yeah, look out for the figure showcase. I'll link to it just about here. Okay, hi everyone. Look at this, Doctor Strange here, Dormammu here. that sort of importance can only mean it's the end of the Secret Santa thing. I'm sure you're glad after this long slog. It's now the 14th of December, and I posted my custom, as I said I would in the last entry in my video diary, and it has been received. As you can see here, the recipient posted a picture of the lovely ghost online, and I didn't know who the person I was giving the gift to was, and it turned out it was Ethan Suppley himself. He's the guy who's been running it all, so I had the big boss man in a way, and he seems happy with it, which is great. I think he's going, my impression is he's going crazy. There's a lot of people who haven't met the deadlines and whatever, and you know, things in people's lives sort of conspire against them at times, and they can't make every deadline, so it's understandable. But yeah, and the reason I'm making this today is I've received my Secret Santa parcel today. I don't know who's in it, but I've got a rough idea who it's from. It does say the guy's name on it, and his first name is Ray, which is quite promising. There's, if you follow customising at all, Ray blank is quite exciting to receive a custom from, especially when they say the value of the custom is $250. I think I said something like 10 quid when I sent mine. That was to avoid customs charges. Of course, mine are worth billions of dollars, and they're priceless. But yeah, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing what's in this. We'll open that in a minute. First of all, I don't know if I've already done this, and I can't be bothered watching everything that you've just watched. So I'm going to look at the list that I gave to whoever has made this for me. Here's my list. Marvel Legends style figures: Baron Mordo, Clea, Man-Thing, Magneto, Diablo, Blastar, a Doombot, the In-Betweener, Hawkeye, Professor Xavier, Shafra the Spider-Wasp, bonus points if you know who that is, Kraven, Namor in his X-Men costume, Polaris in her modern costume, Havoc in his modern costume, Northstar, Baron Helmut Zemo, and Captain Britain in his MI-13 costume. So there we are. So I wonder who's inside this. Let's find out, shall we? I'll let you guys see who it is first. Do I want to look at it? It's that's kind of random. It's Gambit. Was he on the list? What's going wrong there? Anyway, well, isn't that a surprise? He's not on the list, but he's a really nice figure. He's got that fresh paint smell. Okay, do you want to come in for a closer look? 1 second. Okay, as ever, apologies for the lighting here. That's really poor lighting. He just looks black. Anyway, this is Raybot's Gambit. This looks to be him in his modern costume, which is pretty awesome. What have we got here? These look like they're Gambit hands with... I think this is... Can you see that? That sort of... the circle that's on his neck. I'm not familiar with this costume. But the detail that's been added here with the circles on the hands is really, really nice. Really nice. And of course, being one of Raybot's customs, the paint is of course exquisite, and the face is just really, really nice. So it's a beautiful figure. Really well done. With the addition of the... Oh, And look at that, he's got a belt with a rope and everything. It's really nice, and sculpted shin guards. So yeah, amazing stuff. Really happy with that. Especially as I didn't ask for it, but there we are. I'll message them to see what's happened. Honestly, if there's a mistake and this is supposed to go to someone else, that's fine by me. I'm, if whoever's got mine wants to swap, or if it's just a mistake on the customizer's part, I don't care. This is a great custom. I'm happy to keep them, but if someone else is really wanting them, I'm happy to release them to his original intended home. But that's great. Thank you to Raybot, of course. Thank you to Ethan Suppley, and thank you to all the other Fushers for coming up with looking back, great experience. It's always hard to fit customizing in, and it's kind of difficult when you're not getting. You don't know what you're getting out of it. If you're doing a commission, you're kind of getting some money. You're doing it for yourself. You've only got yourself to please. But this, you don't know what you're going to get out of it. And frankly, getting a Raybot custom is in return is just a great thing. It's a holy grail for a lot of action figure collectors, and it's particularly interesting. I've never owned anyone else's a custom from anyone else, so it's just really fascinating to see you can look at this and see the techniques that are involved, and it'll take a long look and a good study of this. Yeah. Great stuff. Anyway, everyone, ignore my bikes in the background, by the way. Thank you very much for watching this overly long video, and have a very Merry Christmas. I believe I will be speaking to you again over the Christmas holiday. I haven't been on YouTube much, as you've noticed. I've got quite a large project in the works, and I think it's smashing, and you should enjoy it. Hopefully it'll be available before the new year. So, yep, thank you very much for watching. Have a Merry Christmas and a very, very Happy New Year, because I know I will. All the best. Bye.